For exponential growth and decay problems, you need to memorize two equations. So our growth formula is A equals P, which is our initial value, times 1 plus R, our rate, to the T. And the only other difference for decay is that instead of adding, we have 1 minus R to the T. So let's look at two examples. Say we had $100 in our bank account. It was increasing or growing by 4%, and I wanted to know how much would there be after 12 years. So my initial value is 100. I know it's growth because it says increasing. I take 4%, make it a decimal, and then it's to the 12th. When I plug this in my calculator, just like that, I get $160.10. And this makes sense because it's more than what we started with, and it's an increasing, it's a growth problem. So let's say we were talking about losing money. You have $100 and it's decreasing by 2% each year. How much would there be in 10 years? So our initial value is still 100. 1 minus 0.02, because it's a decay problem, we have to remember that we're now subtracting, and to the 10th. So what we should have is a number that is smaller than 100, and when you plug it in your calculator, you get $81.71. So that makes sense. Another situation that you might run into is, say we go back to that $100, that first problem. $100 and it's increasing by 4%, except instead of saying how much will you have after 12 years, let's change that. Let's change it to how much will there be, or was there, and let's do 3 years ago. So if you remember when we talked about this in class, that is the only case where a negative comes in because time is now in the past. So we are at negative 3 years. And when you plug this into your calculator, you should have less. So even though it's increasing, we're going back in time. So this makes sense that we're going to have less than $100 because that's what we have currently. So how much did we have 3 years ago? And when you plug this in your calculator, you get $88, and it rounds up to 90 cents. So every time you do a growth and decay problem, you always want to double check and make sure your answer makes sense. Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? Should I have more money? Is it increasing too much? Did I accidentally say 0.4 instead of 0.04? So always double check and make sure your answer makes sense.